Good morning, Jackson County. Hey, I'm Sheriff Brent Kilbrigg, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a virtual tour through our new jail that's about to open and coming up on September 21st. We're going to have the ribbon cutting at 10 o'clock, and we'll be open until 3 o'clock for tours that day. So this is our front lobby. So this is where you'd enter. We have some seating here. We'll have some information rolling on the TV monitor behind us that will be kind of common information that you might have questions about when you come in. Of course, we have a restroom off to the side there. But this will be our front window where you would then meet our front office staff that runs the office right now. That's currently Karen Wells and Kim Clark. So they'll have their desks in there, and we don't have it up yet, but we'll have a lot of brochures and information that you can get here on a hanging information thing on the wall too. So now we're just inside the front lobby, and I want to show you this little room off to the side. We call this kind of our little family room. There'll be certain times when someone wants to come in and they've got an issue they want to talk about. They may have children with them, something to that effect, and they need a little bit more private area rather than be out in the front lobby having conversations in front of the public out there. But yet it's maybe not a criminal nature to where we take them back to one of the interview rooms. We want it to be more of a casual setting, and the kids can come in here. We'll have a monitor on the wall eventually where they can watch cartoons or keep them occupied. We may talk to a mother about some situations or something like that, or anybody that's having issues. So just kind of a nice, more of a casual setting than a more formal setting. This will be the sheriff's office here. This will be my corner office, I guess you would call it. And then we'll just go on down the hallway here. Going along, Chief Deputy Jim Crocker's office will be here. And then I'll wrap you into the front office where Karen and Kim will work. Our civil clerk, Kim Clark, will work here, I guess off to the left of the front window. And Karen Wells, the office administrator, will work here. Both of them will answer the public coming in the front door and come into the window and answer phones, of course. But in here, this gives us more space for records and documents. Karen does a lot of the sex offender registry, things like that, her weapons permits, just things of that nature that she handles, and Kim assists with that as well, but gives us more space and more room for records and things like that. Off to the side of the front office, one of the luxuries, I guess, we're gonna pick up is having these rolling file cabinets. These will make it a lot more efficient. We'll be able to store a lot more records and documents and things like that, whereas now we're just plumb full with paper everywhere in the front office. These are just a lot more efficient. Everybody's going to these in the future. Just helps a lot with office space. Okay, so we're on the other side of the office now again. We have our civil deputy who's gonna have an office here, and that is right off the main office where the civil clerk, Kim Clark, works. So just for convenience, those two can communicate there. We'll go on down the hallway here. This is an evidence pass-through locker. So when you put evidence in here, you put it in there, you would lock the door to where it can't be opened from this side anymore. So then the only way you can get at that evidence is from the inside of the evidence room, and only certain people will have access to that once we're up and rolling. So if you come in here, we again have those rolling storage cabinets to be able to house a lot more evidence, and just gives us a lot more space. This is like a gun rack from guns that we seize out on the road. And come around here, there's another long gun rack on this side. And then we have two stand-up refrigerators here that will house things that need to be kept cold and refrigerated. So this is that evidence pass-through locker. So now if I'm the evidence master of the evidence or keeper of the evidence, then I can come in here and get at that evidence. I log it in, I put it in the rolling cabinet storage, and document it. It's basically its travels in life. Essentially, once we seize it as evidence, we have to document every stage along the way: who's handled it, who's touched it, who's checked it out to go to court, when it comes back in, all those things. Okay, this will be our new patrol room, and this is, I guess, to me, is one of our biggest improvements. One of the things we're probably going to be most thankful for. I don't know if you've ever, maybe some of you have never been in our old patrol room, but it's probably a quarter of this room. If the wall was here, that's about as much space as you have for, approximately 10 deputies to work. So come in here. We brought our file cabinets over from the old office, so we have that storage. We've picked up some desks locally from a business that was gracious enough to donate those to us. and we just have a lot more space and storage. We'll have the ability on these monitors to turn on the cameras that are in the jail to help monitor what's going on in the jail, because that now is kind of a separate location inside the building, so we can help monitor what's going on in the cells in case we see something nefarious that needs to be dealt with as well. So, but yeah, very thankful for this room. Interview rooms, you may have to hold that door. These will be sight and sound audio recorded with the camera up in the corner there. Currently, we have to use Maquoketa Police Department's interview rooms and record our interviews in there. So we have two of these. They're just a mirror image of each other, but these are very much needed, and they're very thankful to have these as well. And in the building here, we made sure we separated them, so if you have two people involved in the same case, hopefully they would not be able to communicate and yell down the hallway. So we made sure the jail builders separated those interview rooms. Okay, this is an area we designated for our sergeants to have a space of their own for them to work. Our sergeant is Sergeant Brandon Beck, and he's actually our investigator at this time. So he always has a lot of interaction with the DCI, the fire marshals, those kind of people. And he needed kind of a separate area to do, you know, maybe not criminal interviews, but to speak with people, game plan how to do an investigation, maybe talk to our deputies privately, things like that. And again, have the monitors in here for monitoring in the jail as well. Pretty much throughout the building, we wanted everybody in the building to have the ability to monitor what's going on in the jail in case there's an issue and we need to run over there and give a hand with them. So brought our emergency manager into the building with us because we figured if there's ever a major incident in the county, he's a huge resource to us. So I kind of wanted him co-located in the building with us. He needed a home anyway. And with what he brings for resources for us, I wanted to make him as much as part of our team as we could do. Because, I mean, even during natural disasters, tornadoes, whatever, Lynn Meeninger is kind of going to become the go-to guy because he has the access to the resources, maybe if not even locally in our county, he has the other EMAs within the state that we can reach out to and start pulling those in from other counties. So I really wanted him to be a part of our operations here in the building. So, and then we have separate restrooms for this area being locked off from the rest of the building as well for the media or the public or whoever. So this is what the EOC is, the Emergency Operations Center. It's got a hardened roof on it, concrete roof on it. So this is actually can be kind of a storm shelter area. This is where, you know, we'd possibly do a large briefing to the community, like when we had the Maquoketa Cave State Park incident. The DCI could brief from here. Any of our major incidents, we could brief from here, have the media come in and give them a place to operate out of it, and we'd brief them here, keeping them separate from actual law enforcement operations in the building. It's a place where we'll be doing training in the future. We could actually host meetings. The other day we had the Mayoral League meeting here. So this room can catch a lot of things. It's set up to have data ports and be able to provide a lot of technology in this room. If we ever needed to, let's say the old law center got wiped out or something, our hopes are to be able to, albeit it would be a bare bones operation, but bring like the dispatch center down here. Maybe they could operate out of here in case their building ever became non-functional down there. So we're trying to look into the future and see what all purposes, you know, we could use this room for those things. So now we'll head over to the jail side of the building from the administrative office. And these doors are designed not exactly like over at the EOC, but it's kind of a separating container between the administrative side of the office and the jail. And as you come in, you'll notice these lockers here. If we come through from the office to go into the jail, we have to secure basically our weapons that could be used against us if we get in the jail and would get overpowered. So it's not set up that way right now, so we can walk directly through. But once we're up and operational, that door will have to close before this door can open. The control room in the jail will have to allow you access to go back. So this is our sally port. You'd pull in here with your squad car. You'd pull up to the far end here. Park up here, get your prisoner out of your car. We'd walk over. Again, we have these, well, you do this before you got your prisoner out. You would store your lethal weapon items in there before you'd ever go into the jail. You'd bring your prisoner into here. Again, that door would close behind you. And here is where we'd pat them down again, make sure they don't have anything harmful or dangerous or illegal before they go into the jail. They could get secured to the bench here if needed, but we will pass through their basically property underneath the window, stuff that'll fit anyway. The booking officer on the other side would secure that. Once they're basically pristine and ready to go in, we can actually go into the actual jail though, or then at that point. So this is we call it the padded cell off of the side of the, we call this like the pedestrian sally port or booking area. So this is the padded cell. This is for people that may not be in the right frame of mind. They may have lost control of controlling themselves, or maybe have behavioral issues where it's a concern that they might harm themselves or something like that. So this is a padded room to help ensure their safety. As we come in out of the pedestrian sally port area, this is the booking area. This is where you would come in, and now the booking officer is going to ask me a bunch of questions to determine kind of who I might get along with in the jail and who I might not. If I'm on any medications, if there's anything special needs that I may need while I'm in jail. It's kind of a sorting category kind of interview, things like that. So that would happen here. From here, then I would go into one of these cells first, and we call these just holding cells. And these are where the person would stay for up to 24 hours before they would see a judge, essentially. So until you see a judge, we don't know if we're going to actually hold you in the jail or if you're going to get released or get bonded out or whatever. So this is where you'd go initially until that happened. And people generally see a judge within 24 hours of coming in the jail. Okay, this is the kitchen off the booking area in the jail here. This is where the meals will be prepared. All the food will be stored and prepped in here. So the jailers will be doing that activity as well, cooking for the inmates. So this is just kind of the new kitchen facility where all that'll happen. We've got some large industrial refrigerators and freezers over here, larger convection ovens. We've got 2 big warming plates here, 2 microwaves. Okay, so we're still in the booking area. So as we go down the hallway, off to the right-hand side is what we call the exam room. That's where like the OWI processing might get done. Medical exams might get done in there in a more private location rather than out in front of everybody. Then as I continue down the room, there's a multi-purpose room, and this is where like religious services may go on, substance abuse meetings like AA and things like that may be held in there. Any kind of counseling could be held in there, educational kind of things, private counseling sessions, thus the multi-purpose room, This is where they will dress the subjects out if they are going to be held in the jail. Once they come out of the holding cells, the judge sees them, they decide they're going to hold them in the jail, they dress them out in there before they go in the jail. Down here at the end of the hallway is the attorney client visit room. So we'd bring the inmate out, they can sit in here with the door closed behind them, their attorney comes in from the outside, and they can have a private conversation in there away from everyone else. All right, so as we enter the jail, off to our left here will be what we call the minimum security pod. We call it that because people may be in and out of this if they still go out and work their jobs in the community. They may be in here, or they're in here for very minor crimes. They don't have any issues with other inmates or anything like that. So we call it the minimum security pod because in here we just have the dorm style set up, I guess, with just bunk beds, not individual cells. And upstairs is a mirror image of down below. So the entire jail is a 50-person or a 50-bed jail. So at 80%, the state says you're full. So you can hold about 40 inmates before the state says you're technically full. You got to leave a little cushion so you're not overcrowded. But our jail this last June, this last summer, we had, if we'd have stayed at that 32 level bed without going ahead and adding the upstairs facility or expanding to the upstairs, we would have already been full before we even opened our jail, because we had days where we had as many as 28 inmates in our jail. Now, obviously, they didn't fit an 11-bed jail, but that means we housed as many as 17 or 18 out of our own original jail. So had we not done the expansion, our new jail would have already been deemed full at that 80% mark without even adding any more capacity on the second level. And what I want you to understand is the mezzanine, what they call it, is the second level. That was already going to be here. So when they built the jail, even if we'd have stayed at the 32 bed level, that was already going to be up there. The only difference was going to be is they were going to close it off. They wouldn't have the bunk beds up there, obviously, and they wouldn't have put like the toilet and sink in, but all of the plumbing, all of the electrical, everything else was going to have to be there for the maybe down the road someday of expanding. So the only difference was they wouldn't have had bunk beds, wouldn't have had the like the sink and the toilet, and they would have walled that off, and that'd have been it. So it made a lot more sense to just keep it open now and utilize that space, and hopefully we can start bringing revenue in by bringing outside inmates in. So now we're in the medium maximum pod, and the difference there is these inmates may have a little more serious crimes, or they maybe don't fit the general population for whatever reason. They have a tendency to not get along with some of those people. So in this pod, we have a medium cell, which would have 2 bunks in it, like this one does. And there's 2 of these in this pod. So basically 2 people can get along and be cellmates. But we also have the maximum type individual cell for someone who doesn't necessarily get along with others. So, or they maybe have a much higher, more serious crime that people they just don't get along. Behavioral issues or whatever. So for that reason, they have a single bed cell. So there's 2 of each of these in here. So that's 6 down here and 6 up there. So that's a total of 12 in this pod. Just like in the minimum pod over there was 12 beds there, 12 here. So that's 24 on each side of the jail. So on the opposite side of the jail is a mirror image of this. So that gets us to 48. And then we have 2 special status cells, which I'll show you those off of the control center here a little while later. So that's how we get to our 50. So this is the new exercise yard. And long-term residents might remember that generally in the past, if we've had people escape or had issues, it's generally somehow related to the exercise yard over at the old jail. So as you can see, this is just a 4-walled concrete room. The state requires that we give them fresh air and that they be able to see daylight. So the new way to do that in the new jails is to have a large garage door basically up high on the wall, on the concrete wall. It has a chain link fence across it that you can't get out. And we basically have a roll-up door that we open up there, and that's where you get your fresh air and daylight. So we don't plan on putting any exercise equipment in here. It's just a place they can come to have more freedom to move and maybe walk laps around here. They can do push-ups, do things like that, that they can normally do in their cell, but it's just a different place they can come to have that more easily be able to do exercise in a less restricted space environment than in their cell and be left alone by the other inmates. Sometimes we'll maybe only have a few in here at a time. So this is what we call our special status cell, and we have 2 of these, and again, these are a mirror image of each other. Basically one-way window up there is where the control center can look down into these cells and check on these people. And special status means it could even be something like maybe they have COVID or something. These are negative air pressure cells to where they suck the air from inside out. And when we were doing that, this jail was kind of being built during COVID. So when we were doing that, I said to the jail builder, I said, well, if we're gonna have negative air pressure for things like COVID in our special status cells, why don't we hook that right onto our holding cells out there on the other side of the booking area and vent that air outside as well? Because somebody could come in on a charge, never get held in our jail, but they could have had COVID or something like that and be in the booking area where they're contaminating everyone out there. We never know it, so why don't we just pump that air out to the exterior as well? So we did that at the same time, just trying to look forward into the future. But so a special status cell is somebody who has behavioral problems or whatever. They might be coming down off of narcotics that they're addicted to, or things like that. Same with alcohol, there may be issues that way. So they get their own individual cell to where they're not bothering other inmates aren't bothering them. And with the window going into the control center, the jailers can monitor them pretty directly. The cells will have the lights on in there, try to keep it kind of bright in there. And the hallways will be more dimly lit, darker. And the control center, where we're going next, will be kept even more dimly lit. And the purpose of that is so the jailers can see into the cells, but you don't want the jailer or the inmates seeing what the jailers are doing out here. So this is the control center or command center of the jail. This has to be occupied 100% of the time. We think of this as like the air traffic control tower at an airport. This can never be vacant. So one jailer will always have to be in this room running the entire operation of the jail from in here, because as you can see over here to my right, there's a computer set up and running, and all the doors in the jail get ran by computer through this control center. So one person's job will be to monitor all the cameras inside the jail and to run all the doors electronically from in here. So just like when we came from the admin side over to here, we could get over here with our fobs to make it more expedient, but then to go back over there, the jailer who's running the control center will have to basically check you through, almost like a lock and dam system on the river. You'll have to go into that small space, the door behind you will have to close and lock, and then they will open the other door for you to go out of the jail into the administration center. So this room again has a lot of technology and a lot of electronics that will have to control the jail from within here. So because of everything is so electronically controlled in today's world, if we would happen to lose power, we have a standby generator right outside the jail and outside it runs the entire building. But that kicks on automatically, and it kicks on for sure once a month just to test it, and there's things that have to happen for that to be logged and kept up and running as well. But so we'll never lose power in this building because we have to have electricity at all times. So just want to thank everybody for joining us today on the video tour. Also want to remind you that there's an open house coming up on Saturday, the 21st of September. The ribbon cutting's at 10 o'clock, and we will run tours after that until 3 o'clock. We're really looking forward to finally getting to generate some revenue for the county by bringing in some out-of-county inmates, and we just need to get some more jailers hired in order to do that so we can run a facility of this size. So thank you very much. We hope to see you on the 21st, and I want to thank the community for believing in this vision and helping us to bring this jail, which needed to happen, to fruition finally. Thank you very much.